What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik, aka Unique Mazik. I'm the hardest working man in sports and gaming, and I got another Madden video for you. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about presentation. There is, I've always been a proponent of the presentation being improved in Madden. I've, talked to EA specifically about it. Written written countless articles about it, the whole thing, right? And there's a guy, his name is TJ, and he has a channel, MGN Gaming, I believe it is. And he is doing some really fantastic mock-ups of the way he would like to see the presentation handled in Madden. Now, his videos, I believe they've been blowing up over the last 2 or 3 days. And I saw a video that he posted, I want to say it was on Tuesday night, where he was saying that he was going to be working with EA. And I think that's really awesome. And I think it's awesome for a lot of reasons, because I think it's awesome, obviously, for EA going with someone. He's not working for EA, but he's a part of a group that will be doing like testing and things like that for, I think he said, franchise mode and gameplay. I think that's great, because it's cool that EA is like bringing someone in from the community, somebody who's been vocal about things they want to see done on their game, bringing someone in to do that. I think that's great, obviously. And then I just love seeing, the brother get an opportunity to do something that he loves. Trust me, I am living proof that when you get a chance to do that, it's a huge deal. First of all, he's extremely talented. He has a very strong voice when it comes to doing audio presentation, doing voiceovers. He's really sharp with that. So I think, honestly, I would love to see EA use him in that manner. Perhaps bring him in, hire him if he's with this, and have him be the audio guy in for the commentary team. I've said this in previous videos. I think that they need to hire someone who can be there all the time, who this can be their job as a part of the development team, where they are, essentially they work in Maitland, Florida, or wherever, and they show up every day, and when it's time to do the game, they know that they're going to go in and do their lines. But then throughout the season after the release, since now, of course, Madden is a live service, they're constantly doing, updating their halftime show stuff. They're updating their, weekly wrap-up stuff. Whatever it is, he's constantly adding new content. I think he'd be a great fit for that sort of thing. We share, like I said, the same desires from a presentation standpoint. There is one part, though, that I think we have a little bit of a disconnect on with him and I spoke to him about this on Twitter maybe a couple weeks ago, because he was starting a hashtag was a fixed Madden presentation. So I'm 100% in agreement with TJ that the presentation needs a serious upgrade. But in most of TJ's videos, and even in the hashtag, he was saying, he was like, they need to get NBC, they need to get Fox, they need to get these different networks. And I feel like there's the thing that maybe it's not even just TJ. I hear a lot of people saying that, and I think they may not know exactly what all goes into that. So the NFL license itself that EA has doesn't automatically include every network that broadcasts or streams NFL games. So the NFL's on Amazon Prime. They're on the NFL Network. I believe they're on Twitch. They're on NBC. They're on ESPN, and they're on ABC for Monday night. Oh, I forget where they are for Monday. I think it's ABC for Monday Night Football. I might even be missing something. I don't know if I said CBS, but essentially there are a lot of places. EA's contract and license with them is just with the NFL. They don't have the access to Fox and CBS's branding and all of those overlays and cool stuff that TJ has shown in those videos. And don't get me wrong, it's freaking dope. Like that would be great if we saw that. But to make a suggestion and say, oh, they should have this, that's not really a realistic suggestion, because there's contracts that have to be signed. And we're talking about each one of these potential relations, each one of these networks is separate and humongous. I'm talking about millions upon millions and millions of dollars that have to pass hands in order to set this up. And I know some people might say, well, oh, EA got the money. But it's more than that, man. It's getting all of these different people who will make all these decision makers for all these different companies down and agreeing, oh, okay, well, you can use CBS. And then some companies might be like, well, if you got CBS in there, we don't want to be in there because we're NBC and we don't want this, we don't want that. So there's a lot that goes into that. It's not just as simple as just adding in. Just take the time with your presentation people, the people that are part of the development team that work on that. It's more than that, right? So what I believe the best approach for this is to create your own network on the inside. You know, there's no reason in the world why you can't have these games broadcast unless there's something that I don't know, which I don't think that there is in this situation. But an electronic arts sports network, they used to have that, you know, or something to that effect, or you can name it whatever you want to name it, the Madden Championship Network, or the Madden, you know, this is Madden, welcome to Madden Franchise Network, you know, or Madden Franchise Monday nights, Madden Franchise Thursday nights, or Madden Franchise Prime Time. And this is the whole network that you've created within the game. And I'm not trying to take anybody's job away or anything like that, but I believe that in these sports video games, we need to move away from the big name announcers. Not because they're not good, not because their voices aren't dope or whatever. It's just because of access. You're not going to have as much access to Brandon Galvin and Charles Davis, even though they give you more access than Kevin Harlan, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, and all the other people. They give you more access than them, obviously. But and it's nothing against those guys. I mean, yeah, they have whole other everythings that they do. When they lend their voice to a video game, that's just, you know, 3 or 4 day period they come in to work and put in these lines. EA, 2K, Sony, everybody who's doing a sports video game would be better served bringing in some individuals who are going to come in and be a part of your development team that you're going to have a repeated access to throughout the entire year, all the time. And they know that their jobs, I mean, they're on salary, they get benefits, the whole nine. They are part of the development team. They need to open up these positions so that they can keep their audio refreshed and have this be a part of those updates that go out on a semi-monthly basis or however frequently they're going out. To me, that is the best way to keep the freshest and most intriguing commentary and audio overall in a sports video game. As far as the branding and the presentation that TJ and a lot of people, even myself, are asking for, you handle that so much easier because now I don't have to pay to create my own network. I can turn my art guys and girls loose on this thing and they can make all kinds of awesome overlays, monoliths, just scrolling mark, all kinds of stuff that you can make with your own faux brand that you've built. And now you have these guys and girls who now are a part of your in-game commentary team, and they're literally building their own brands within Madden, within 2K, within MLB The Show. That is, to me, the most cost efficient, the most, the best way to go to it when you're talking about from a quality standpoint. To me, everything is better there. The only thing you don't have is you can't go around and say, oh, well, Brandon Galvin or Kevin Harlan is the voice of our game. I promise you, gamers don't even care, really. And the people say, oh, they need to get Gus Johnson, need to get this person and that person. They don't understand, man. Madden had Gus Johnson before, and there was times where, not to any of Gus's fault, but this is just the limitations when you have somebody come in one time to record all their lines. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that's mismatched because you just don't have access to this person like that. You want to know why WWE 2K's commentary is always so bad? One of the reasons is because they get Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, Byron Saxton, Corey Graves, or whoever it is, they get them to sit in there in a room for 4 or 5 days. Michael Cole literally told us this at the Performance Center once, and he didn't even know he was really exposing the limitations of the commentary setup at the time. He thought that he was, because he's not a gamer like that, so he's like, yeah, we sat in there and we just recorded lines after lines just to get you guys good commentary, and we recorded, we had to be there for like 4 days. And I'm like, yeah, I know exactly how this works, and there's only so much that you can cover in that time frame. There's only so many situations you're going to be able to have an appropriate line for. And I don't care how you do commentary, there's going to be some stuff. It's a video game, so there's going to be some weird parts. But the more that commentary is refreshed, the better it'll be overall. And the best way to do that is to hire somebody as the full-time commentators, sideline reporters, halftime show host, post-game show host, weekly wrap-up show host, all of that. It could be the same 2 people, whatever it is. We know Dan Keefe and I think it was O'Keefe and O'Brien. I can't remember their first and last names. One of them name was Dan. They ran that whole joint, man. And then they had Chris Berman doing the halftime show, and it had the real highlights and everything. And Madden has tried to shoot that down. They were like, oh well, 2K5 only ran like the same 20-something highlights. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even really notice it that way. Like after a while, you're like, oh, I think that's the same highlight or whatever. But we're talking about a console. That game came out in 2004, man. We're talking about 17 years ago. So it would appear to me that Madden or EA should be, or 2K and all these other companies should be able to utilize the current hardware to either get more stored plays or actually to even have the game simulated. Because if you look at the way 2K sim engine works, so if you do SimCast, you can sim an entire game on fast forward, and the players are moving around, blah, 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 and it's like off, it's like it's not I wouldn't call it like blimp cam, but it's off the court, and the players are just represented by circles with their numbers on it. But the game is actually playing in the background. And the way you know the game was actually being played in the background is because when it's over, you can look at each player's highlight. So it generated its own highlights right there. So with this technology and with the consoles that we have now, you mean to tell me that you can't simulate a game, or you can't simulate games from in a season in Madden and have 3 or 4 highlights pulled from a collection of games, 3 or 4 unique highlights that came from the sim and stored there for you to watch during your halftime show? And then you pull out some other stuff that shows whatever went on or whatever happened for a weekly wrap-up show. I'm just not buying that that's not doable at this point. The stuff that I'm seeing in terms of what's available and what we're seeing with games, with live updates and all that, I'm just not really buying it, y'all. I just don't know if anybody's thought it's been important enough to delve into to get that deep. But I think it's possible, and I think those are the ways to get presentation together. I really admire TJ's, spunk and his focus and going after this, and I'm with him. But I think we got to get off of the whole trying to get Fox and CBS and whoever else in there. We just need improved presentation that feels like we're watching a big time professional football game. And I don't know that it's realistic to try to say we need to see those agreements being made with those companies, because we got to realize that's the only way you get CBS and NBC and all of these different companies and brandings in the game. It just because EA decides they want it. So that's my thing. I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit because I do know that that's one of the things that kind of is being discussed within the Madden franchise community as we wait for the game to come out. So I appreciate you guys watching as always. God bless and peace.